Spear Jordan Lost Angler, and tonight what we're going to do is we're going to be tying big streamer patterns, my favorite kind of patterns, my favorite kind of flies. I like to try to tie flies for bass that are big, have a whole lot of action in the water, have a great side-to-side darting action, and most more than anything else are easy to cast, because with fly fishing for bass, it's a lot of repetitive cast over and over and over, so you want one that's really easy to do. And the other thing that I want to point out that makes, to my mind, a very successful bass pattern for most places is it being weedless, because bass love to be in places where, if you're not getting, the old saying used to be, if you're not getting hung up, you're not fishing where the fish are. And I believe that. So tonight we're going to be tying one of these big weedless creature. We'll talk about how to make it weedless, just different tips, tricks, all that kind of stuff like usual. So it won't be in this color pattern. We're actually going to do it in bluegill or perch, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to do that right now because it's early spring and fish are getting on the bed. So we're going off the bed. It's around that spawning time, depending on where you're at in the country. So I hope this is a helpful video to you. It's going to be a long one, so just feel to skip around as you need to go. Let's get to it, man. First, to get in the right frame of mind. Now, let's get started. We're going to start with a size 1/0 Gamakatsu B10S hook. And per usual, we're going to be using clear nylon thread. We're going to go all the way up and down the hook shank a couple of times. Then, the first thing we need to do is add in our weed guard. We're going to be using 50-pound test monofilament. This is Eagle Claw because it is the cheapest available. And the cheaper it is, the stiffer it is, the more memory it has, the better it functions as a weed guard. I like to do a pretty long one to start with because it's easy to keep it out of the way. So we're going to do some nice loose thread wraps going up and down the hook. I want to go fairly far down the hook shank, but not too far. The further down you go down the hook shank, the less your weed guard is going to get kicked. Say this is my hook, and this is the front hook. The less it's going to get kicked from left to right. So it won't be kicked out of the way as easily the further down you go. Trade-off is the further down you go, the harder it is to set the hook. So keep that in mind. You have to find your happy medium. And just some abundant thread wraps. Now to get this guy out of the way, I just take it and slide it right there. And that's where it's going to live for pretty much the rest of the tie. Next up, whole bunch of Flashabou. I like to start with gold Flashabou first. And I'm of the opinion it's okay to be liberal with the flash. Obviously, it provides a lot of motion in the water. And the other thing is, too, it's still really easy to cast because it just doesn't hold on the water. So I loop it over like so, then bring it down. And I cinch it down in place. There we go. Next thing, so I'm going to come in with some olive pearl Flashabou. And again, any sort of substitutions you want to make are fine. Again, Pretty liberal dosage. Flash of boom. And I just loop it over here. And I want to leave it fairly uneven so it has that tapered look. Boom. There we go. Very nice. All there is to it. Now, next thing we're going to do, we're going to go up a little ways with our fly. In order to do that, I'm going to start with some bucktail. And I want to go with the longer fibers in the tail, which are going to be towards the bottom. But I don't need them to be super long. And the reason being, I'm just using this to add some bulk to the fly. And pick your bucktail. When you pull it out, when you go to buy your bucktail, pull it out. See how long the fibers are. See how long, what you're getting. I'll have four or five different bucktails. Like I think I have 3 olives of varying lengths right now. And if I find a good bucktail, man, I jump up and grab it. All right, just gonna go on right here. Nice and loose. And then what I want to do is I like to look at it, kind of work it down on the fly, and then tighten up. This particular bucktail likes to spread, more like deer hair, which I really like for adding bulk to these streamers without adding a whole lot of weight. And I'm just going to take a few loose wraps. Come on up. And then I'll just trim off the excess. There we go. Next thing, I'm going to add, come up a little bit more, a little bit of chartreuse bucktail. This is going to have a little bit longer fiber, and I'm actually in it to the point where I'm getting the green and the brown, which I actually like a lot. I love that combo. What I'm doing is I'm getting out all the irregular hairs. Pinch into a certain length right here, and pull my fingers out, and that gets rid of all the hairs that aren't to the desired length. Now I'm going to come up further up on the hook. Now this hair isn't going to puff up as much as the other one did. Now I'm going to push it down on the fly so it covers up. Like so. Let's rotate around. Very nice. Adjust accordingly. There we go. Then tighten up once you've got it where you like it. There we go. Very nice. tighten everybody up. So this gives me nice base colors in my fly. Next, I am going to be adding some more browns, and for this we're going to use Whiting's Bugger Pack, and this is a Grizzly Ginger Grizzle, and I'm going to grab a few feathers out of here, and I want to be fairly long. Take your time when you're picking them. Go slowly. Find the ones that really work. It's good to be a feather snob. Take a little extra time. Go through it. Oh. I like it very much. Yes. Bam. All right, cool. So, first off, get these guys. Make sure they're together. If you get the length you want. And I like to look at them both ways. Like, how will they lay if I put them this way? And how will they lay if I put them this way? I generally like for them to kind of droop downward. I feel like that kind of works a little bit better for me. Now, I want to lay them together. And I'm going to lay it across the hook. Now, again, just like we did on the other fly, we're just going to come in. Lots of nice loose thread wraps. Easy does it. Keep it going. Stack it down. Now, take the time to adjust as you go along. I see how that stem wanted to cock over on me, and that'll make everything out of whack. So what I'm going to do is, once I get to where I want it, come up here, trim off those stems. Very nice. And we're going to do the same on this side. Very nice. Very nice. All right, next. Come on up. Now, I feel like a good bluegill needs some orange. And we're going to use nice orange Palmer Chenille. Clip off just a little bit. A little goes a long way. So this is large Palmer Chenille. I'm going to come on up a little ways. Alright. And one thing I want to stress about this is loose wraps. Alright. There we are. Take this down. Very nice. All right, next. Where am I? Here we go. Quick comb over. Make sure everybody's where they need to be. Next, I'm going to throw in some more saddle hackle. Again, we're using Whiting's Bugger Pack. This is just a nice olive. And we're going to take these guys and we're going to taper them on. Sweet. And then a little bit more. And this time we're instead going to go to a very nice brown. Now the other feathers have gone this way. These are going to go up. And this brown pack I really like because it's almost more of a ginger. So, you know, just whenever you're picking your hackle, just, you know, kind of have in mind what you want to do with it. Again, take your time, sort through, find the feather that works for you. That works for the pattern you're tying. If you're tying along with me, awesome. If you're watching this, just figure out how to tie the pattern, you can skip this part. Skip it, skip it, skip it, skip it. Now, if you notice, I always do things, and I get 2 feathers to each side, so 4 feathers. I feel like that just helps. All right, now you see, I'm putting this in at an angle. So I'm gonna do it on you guys' side. Coming in at an angle. So it starts to build some character in the fly. Boom. Do the same thing on this side. Uh-oh. Thread broke. Now one thing I'm trying to do as I'm going is I'm leaving this head area pretty clear. I don't want to mess up close to the eye of my hook. So I'm going to leave that nice and clean. Alright, so we're getting a really nice shape on this fly. I'm loving the colors. Now to give it that really good bluegilly look. Yarn. Guys, this stuff is amazing. You know, if you're looking for a cheap dubbing material or a cheap way to make heads, this is it, man. This really is it. And you can get all kinds of colors. It's just great. So we're going to be doing this in a dark brown, mixed with a little bit of chartreuse and a little bit of dark green with white on the belly, just like a bluegill. So, real trick with this is I get a multi-skein, so like different colors, so that I only need to buy one, and I've been on the same thing for years now. The same thing of yarn for $4 at Walmart, if that. So it'll last you forever. Then I can take it, I just double it over a couple times, and comb it out. To comb it out, the only thing you're going to do is you're going to take your brush, work with the coarse side first, and just go. Just work it out. Go all the way down. Now you're going to lose a lot of yarn, like these little tufts, and you can save them and make a really nice dubbing later. Or you don't have to. I don't do a whole lot with little dubbing. Like I don't tie very small flies. And but they do really well. So if you do want to save it for dubbing, it does really well. I should probably do it more. So, like I said, all I'm going to do is comb this out. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And when we get done with the finished product, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay. So we've taken a bunch of different kinds of yarn, and we've come up with this nice blend. And all you're doing is the same thing we just did. Take it, comb a bunch out. Now I'm going to lay it on top. Right here. And I'm going to leave some going forward, some going back. No big deal. Now, on the bottom, I'm not going to have such a dark blend. I'm just going to kind of be monotone. A nice light tan. Now, pull this back. Here, cinch that down. Now I'm going to progress this forward. Okay. Like so. Then, I'm going to take my orange, like you'd expect to see on the throat of a brim or bluegill. I'm going to take it on. Now the cool thing about this stuff is, once we've got it to where we want it, when we brush it out here in a minute, it's going to blend it all together. So I'm going to come forward, like so. Bring it back. Now again, I've left my hook eye exposed with plenty of room. This is for that weed guard that we put on. Alright, now I'm going to take my brush, or excuse me, my comb. I'm going to work my way around. Now, to keep all this in place where we want it, because I don't really want to add too much if I can help it, because that just holds water. It can make it more difficult to cast. I'm going to come in right here, and this is my moment where I'm going to add my eyes in. So, make sure you got everything come back the way you want it. You have good coverage everywhere. Now, I'm going to go with red eyes. There's no reason you can't use any other color in the universe you want to. I'm using red because down here, it seems to me that a lot of the bluegill or panfish, that is the color that they are in the eyeball department. That's what I want. Okay. Run out of loom here. All right. Put a nice little dollop down, and you can use, if you want to, super glue just to hold the eye down. I'm not going to do that because it never fails. Every time I do, it leaves kind of a white residue. Now that I got that where I want it, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And for a long time, I had made my own eyes, just with some loom and flat stick-on eyes. But nowadays, for what you can get for the price of them on places like Amazon, which is where I got these eyes at, it doesn't really make sense to make them anymore. I think I paid $10 for 100 of them, if that. So, just the amount of time I spent making them made it so it was worth doing it this way. All right, now what I like to do to make sure that these guys stay where they're at, I'm going to go around it with some UV resin. And that just keeps them from getting knocked off. I actually went all the way over these, because usually that's what ends up happening. And if you're wondering, this is water. All right. It's not 100%, but that's fine. I'll take it out. Don't worry about this later. And that's it as far as the eyes go. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to put on the, take our 50-pound monofilament and bring it up. Now we're going to take that 50-pound monofilament, and I'm going to take it, and I'm going to put it through the vise. Hopefully I don't take the fly out. Hopefully not. All right. Through there. Bam. Right where the hook goes into the jaws of the vise. All right, and then I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it through the eye. Trim off my excess. Now this is kind of, pretty essential actually. This, you don't want to be too tight. If you do, you won't have a good weed guard. Too loose, same thing. So you've got to remember that when you tie this down, it's going to cinch up. So you want to take it to where you want to be at, then push up. Then go from there. Bring it up and over. And if you do it loose at first, I can come back in here and I can tighten it up, or I can pull it out to wherever I need it to be at to get to that perfect size. I would err a little bit on the side of caution and give yourself a little bit more slack than you might think that you need. And boom, there we are. We have a weed guard, ladies and gentlemen. All right, now, last but not least, let's tie it off. Then we're going to loom this up again right in through here. We're going to do it for a couple reasons. One, we want this weed guard to stay no matter what. Second reason is when I do that, it makes it a lot less prone to get hung up, because then I've got this kind of cone head of loom or UV resin on the front of the fly, and that helps it slip through the weeds easier. If you're wondering, can you do this on weighted flies? The answer is yes. It's not quite as effective. Now, if I want to get this fly down and I want to maintain its weedlessness, I'll actually take cone head in front. I'll slip it on the line kind of like you would a bullet weight. I really like doing the tungsten ones because they help get that fly down there. There we go. And that's going to give it a nice kind of cone of resin to work with. And then when we're done, we're going to take our bodkin, heat it up with a cigarette lighter, burn that piece of monofilament out, and we're done. This, my friends, is just one of those big, crazy streamers that I like to tie. I guess I call it the big hairy animal because of the yarn in the front. And do love this thing. It's a great pattern. Has a wonderful side-to-side action. As much action as a game changer, just about. And a lot easier to cast, a lot faster to tie. Just managed to get it all tied up. Big hairy animal, big streamer, big kind of a bluegill brim sort of pattern. It's one of my favorites. It has a great side-to-side action in the water. It's weedless, it's easy to cast. Not much more you can ask for in life. And, guys, I don't know if you know this, another week down. So, with that being said, We're going to try to keep up with the flies, but I'm going to be trying to add in a couple other little things. I'm hopefully going to be adding in a review of some really cool CRKT axes. And this weekend coming up, we're going to have some axe thrown at our house, so maybe we'll throw some little clips in there. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button, hit subscribe. If you have any questions, ask away. Happy to answer as many of them as you want. And we'll see you on the water, man.